What is up, YouTube? Branden here, bringing you a deck profile of my Aqua Glory Maelstrom build. This is going to be my final change I'm making to the deck until BT11 comes out. I've been liking actually the changes I've made to this deck, and I'm kind of regretting them making them sooner. Went to a tournament yesterday with this build. Went 8-0. I went undefeated with this deck, going against decks like the Blood, the End, MLB, and all those big name beaters. Alright, so let's get started. The starter, Officer Cadet Erikk, generic grade 3 searcher, arguably one of the best starters Aqua has right now. Alright, to start with the grade 3s, we have 4 copies of Blue Storm Dragon Maelstrom. He's the main card in the deck. You would prefer to stay on him most of the game. His limit break is pretty devastating. If you don't know what it is yet, it's a Counterblast 1. Well, when this unit attacks, when it's the 4th attack of that turn, it gains 5,000 power in the ability where you can Counterblast 1. When it hits a Vanguard, when it hits, you can retire one of your opponent's rear guards and draw a card. Excuse me for that long pause. Next up, we only have 2 copies of Blue Storm Supreme Dragon Glory Maelstrom. He's not really needed at more. I mean, you can, but in this build, he's just a late game finisher. Like, late game, after Maelstrom has retired a lot of your opponent's defenses and a lot of his hand, when he guards a grade 0 from all your rear guard attacks and everything, you drop Glory Maelstrom if you're at 5 damage. If not, you drop him, you drop a self-damager, you put yourself to 5, and you push for gain with his ultimate break. Pretty devastating card. Crossroad makes it a 28k attack. If it's a 4th attack or more boosted by Dorothea, which just makes it that much more devastating and that much harder to guard. And to round out the grade 3s, we have 2 copies of Storm Rider Diamantes. I only need to play 2 of him because you don't need... The Storm Riders are important in this deck, but there's not a lot of room in the grade 3 lineup for Aqua Force as it is. And you could either use Benedict in this build if you like. I use Diamantes just because he's able to hit those 11k rear guards without having to use a booster. To start off the grade 2s, 4 copies, Tier Knight Lazarus, 10k beater. Really not much you can say about that card. Pretty good, a good solid ride target for defense on turn 2, and a pretty good rear guard. Next we have 2 copies of Coral Assault. If there's one card in the deck that I would like to bump up one more, it would be Coral Assault. Just because of the fact that on the 3rd attack or more, he's an 11k attacker, which is great. It's a great 11k attacker, perfect lead-in for Maelstrom. And, you know, if need be, you can intercept with it, you know, giving you an extra 5k shield. Next, we got 2 copies of Tier Knight Valeria. If you can get her to the 4th attack, if she can be your 4th or more attack, she's a very, very, very scary unit. Your opponents will usually try to block her no matter what, and if they can't, you get to blow up a rear guard if she hits a Vanguard on the 4th attack or more, which it's pretty good in my book, and it's arguably one of my favorite units in this deck. To finish off the grade 2s, 3 Storm Rider Basil. I used to have him at 2. I bumped him up to 3 because I want to be able to draw into him more. When I had him at 2 and only 2 Diamantes, I really didn't hit him a lot, and I would have to be forced to ride Glory Maelstrom early, which is really not what I want to do in this deck. I like to sit on Maelstrom for as long as possible, if not the whole game. Grade 1s. Standard. 4 copies, Tier Knight Theo, 8k attacker, good for turn 1 ride target, really good, really solid booster. Next we got another standard, 4 copies, Perfect Shield, the Emerald Shield Paschal. With so many on-hit effects in this meta and so much these strong, powerful rear guards, you need as many Perfect Shields as you can play. So that's why you play all 4. Next up, we have the 10k booster, Battle Siren Dorothea. she's the perfect card to put behind your Vanguard, and it's just Maelstrom on the third attack or more, on his limit break, that's a 26k attack, which is that much harder to guard if they don't have a perfect. And it puts Glory Maelstrom to a 28 if he's Crossroad. And since they can't even drop a perfect, that's 2 10s out of their hand for a 1 trigger to pass. That's a 2 10s and a 5, that's 3 cards out of their hand for a 2 to pass. And that's just for that 1 attack, not mentioning hitting any stand triggers or anything that they'd have to guard as well. 2 Tier Knight Cyprus. It's really he's in here because I wanted at least a solid 7k boost. And the fact of the matter is this deck does not counterblast ever. There's 2 cards in this deck, 3 cards including him, 4 cards, excuse me, including him and Erikk that counterblast. And they're all counterblast 1, and they're all extremely... This deck is very not counterblast. It is not very counterblast heavy at all, whatsoever. And if you have any open counterblast and you want to pump Erikk up, so say you're facing 11k rearguard and you're forced to call, you know, something like a Theo to a front row. If you have this, just turn this around so you can see it. If he's boosting and Theo's in the front, or even if Theo's in the front and he's boosting, you can counterblast 1 to give him an extra 1k. That forces a 10 guard out of a 11k vanguard, which it's pretty good. I like it. It's how I won a lot of my matches yesterday against some 11k vanguards and some not crossroad people who missed a cross ride. He put a lot of pressure on them. And finally, for the grade 1s, 2 reliable strategic commander. The self damager in this deck, you really only need 2. You could possibly play 3. I play 2 because you want to get him late game, but not, you know, too late and not too early. So I play 2 because if you're sitting on Maelstrom, your opponent knows you have Glory in hand, or if you're already crossroad into Glory and they're playing around your ultimate break because they won't be able to guard it, you pop Glory down, you pop this, you pop him down, you counterblast her down, you counterblast 1, give yourself an extra damage, and you hit your ultimate break with Glory Maelstrom, which can be pretty scary if they're not ready for it. If they're not ready if they don't have enough zeros in hand to guard that. To round off the deck, we have our triggers. We have 6 stand triggers, 4 draws, 2 crit. I play 2 crit and 6 stand in this deck because those extra crits can really come in handy. It's happened to me a lot. I've done it to my opponents a lot where, you know, they're at 4 damage. They know Aqua really doesn't play a lot of crits, or my deck doesn't play. They know my deck doesn't play crits, or they don't think my deck doesn't play crits, and they no guard my 4th attack, and I rip a critical trigger off the top of my deck, and boom, then you got a win right there. If they don't hit a heal trigger. And to finish off the deck, standard 4 heal. That's all you can really ask. That's all you can really do with that deck. Like I said, I went undefeated in this deck. Round 1, I played the Blood. Round 2, I played a Vayu. It was a Vayu Dungaree variant. I don't remember what I played round 3, but round 4 I played Shadow Paladin, which is it was a great game between us. And round 5 I played MLB. Then when the store did a cut to the top 8, I played against the Vayu deck again in top 8. Then I replayed the Shadow Paladin guy, and I ended up against Bermuda Triangle. So I was playing a lot of cross rides. I was playing against a lot of cross ride decks. The final deck, it wasn't Prism that I played against. It was Eternal Idol. I hit a lot of cross ride decks, and this deck actually it stood up to the challenge and it performed very well. So I'm proud of my deck and I'm proud of myself. So thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later with more duel videos, deck profiles, and everything. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. See you guys later.